Hello guys, Lefo here. Today we're gonna talk about weapon traits for main tanking. What is best, what is viable, in what situation you should use which trait. So to be honest, I will just talk about two traits. For now, there are only two traits that is viable for main tanking. The first one being the defending and the second one being the infused. So let's talk about some percentages and the defending first. So as you know, the spell resistance and physical resistance values are kept at hard capped at the 33k, around that number. As far as I know, the exact number is 33,150. It may not be true. If it is not true, I'm sorry. This is the number I know. So when you get to that number, without any buffs applied, if you normally got hit by some attack for 100 damage without anything else, any damage mitigation bonus with 0 resistances, when you get to 33k, whatever is hard cap, you will get 50 damage from the same attack. So this thing gives you 50% damage mitigation. So if you calculate that, what does 2580 resistance gives you, you will see that it's 4%, around that number. And this number will get reduced also because the diminishing returns will change the difference between the damage taken when you apply other damage mitigation bonuses. So defending is, let's say, 4%, okay? So using defending weapon reduces the damage taken by 4%. Again, saying this number will get reduced if you have any other bonuses. But we're gonna stick with 4%, okay? So the second trait is infused, which I'm using right now. And the infused is actually much more stronger than you think. If you remember, I started using infused when I created the build Crusher, and it was working really good. My group had a huge DPS boost with that build. Now, why infused is that good? Now, the value increases by only 20%. Now, this game doesn't tell you some stuff, and maybe you don't know what I'm gonna say right now. The enchantments have 10-second cooldown, but most, I'm not saying most, some enchantments. There are 3 types of achievements in this game. The first one being the ones that deal damage, like shock, enchantment, fire, poison, disease, whatever, and the ones that deal magic damage and give you health, stamina, or stamina or magicka. These have a common of 5-second cooldown, and the other ones that buff you, give you a shield, or debuffing the enemy that has that doesn't have an instant effect. These enchantments have 10 seconds of cooldown. So for example, this Crusher enchantment has a 10-second cooldown, and there's this third category, which is the special enchantments like master weapons and maelstrom weapons. You cannot craft them, you cannot buy them from anywhere. You can only drop them either from Dragonstar or Maelstrom Arena. These enchantments do not have a cooldown. Whenever you activate the related ability, they will proc. So we're gonna focus on the second category right now because it's what our concern. The Crusher enchant has a 10-second cooldown. Okay, so if you use a defending weapon like this, it will have a 10-second cooldown and it will have 5-second duration. So if you do the calculation, the overall penetration you give to your group is actually half of this number. So if you divide 1622 by 2, you will get the overall penetration you give to your group, and that will be 811. So every 10 seconds when you do a light attack or use a one-hand shield skill or whatever your weapon is on, you get this penetration value, and it can be up at most 50%, which is not that great. On the other hand, this infused weapon will reduce its cooldown by 40%, which is huge in my opinion, and it will reduce the cooldown to 6 seconds instead of 10. And the duration is 5 seconds, so the real downtime for this enchantment will be only 1 second. If you use Torux Pact set, that will reduce the cooldown by 1 second as well, and it will make it possible to keep it up 100% if you place your light attacks or run Sekiro Slash at the perfect time, which makes the Crusher enchant much more powerful. So let's do the calculation, right? If you multiply this 1946 with 5 and divide it by 6, you will get the overall penetration you give to your group, and that will be 1621. I did the calculation before making the video, so you can calculate it yourself. It will give you the same number. So the infused weapon gave us 1621 overall penetration, and the defending weapon gave us 811. So we are talking about twice more effectiveness on the Crusher enchantment. So the difference is actually huge. Now the question is, do you want to give your team 800 more penetration, or do you want to take 4% less damage? This is the question. Some people might think we are already penetrating the armor of most bosses almost completely. Why do we need Crusher? So do we really need to buff it with an infused weapon? In my opinion, yes. If you have 100% alcohol uptime, you don't need infused weapon, but it never goes perfect, and there's a huge chance that your alcohol uptime won't be 100%. So that's why if you buff your Crusher enchant, Crusher will reduce that gap where the alcohol is not up by a huge amount if your Crusher is good enough. So in my opinion, infused is much better than defending, because this 4% you won't notice it. I can tell you that this 4% won't be anything noticeable, and it's not that important because there are some fights that you should get defending instead of infused, like the Axis in AA and maybe Warrior in Hadra. Not that much actually, but Axis definitely you want a defending weapon there. Whatever. So the thing is, if you want more group DPS, go with infused weapon. If you want more self survivability, go with defending weapon. I personally use infused one, and if I'm not wrong, I may be wrong. I researched this a lot, and the number I got is around 1k penetration means 2% more damage done overall. So what we talked about, the difference between the overall penetration difference between infused and defending is 800. So it's 1.6% more damage overall. And in my opinion, that's a big number. These are the things that the good DDs think about. They want to do the highest DPS. Like there's a huge difference between a group that does every DD doing 47k and the other group doing 48k. There's a huge difference. Like everyone is trying to get the highest DPS, and in order to achieve that, you must support your group. And what I do is I just use infused weapon, so I try to close the gap in the damage difference when Alkosh is not up. So infused actually helps a lot during that situation. Anyways, I talk a lot again. I hope I made my point. Again, there are some fights that you need to go defending. You don't need actually, but it is better if you do. I'm not blindly saying use infused everywhere. Okay, this is really important. Know when to use defending and know when to use infused. Make up your mind and choose the best for it. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope this will be helpful to you. I will see you soon. Take care.